Come on in. It is season finale and playoff time. The games are just getting final for the playoffs for the 4A and 3A teams. The only score we don't have a final from, and that is the George County game, which was moved from last night. They were not very happy about it, that they actually traveled up there, not from what I heard, and it was changed to tonight. They're playing at Forest Hill. They're losing 26-10 in the fourth quarter, and not sure if they're going to make the playoffs or not. But come on in. We're going to run over the scores. Of course, if you haven't heard the finals for the playoffs in 3A, we only had one team in 3A, St. Patrick. Unfortunately, they did lose 42-0 against Franklin County. Again, St. Patrick's season obviously is over with that loss. I'm Matt Stats, Coast Football. Glad to be here on the live stream as we end the regular season and start of the 1 through 4A. They have more teams than the other 5 through 7A. That's why they start a week early. They will all finish the same time, and everybody wants to play, obviously, in the state championship game, but more they want to play in the South State the day after Thanksgiving. That's you want to practice during Thanksgiving week. You certainly do. We will try to bring some guests on. We won't necessarily, I don't believe we'll stay here to 12 o'clock. We're getting an early start because there was only 5 games tonight. Again, just mentioned Franklin County did shut out St. Patrick 42-0. Poplarville, Ty Keys certainly had himself a night. And if you haven't heard, Mr. 4A Ty Keys was named today. He had a couple touchdowns. One was 69 yards, I believe, touchdown. They did win. Poplarville won 49-20 at Forest County AHS. They will move on. I do not have the opponents for next week as of yet. I have to wait for the other games to finish. Columbia, they're undefeated, moved to 11-0, did shut out Moss Point. Coach Jenkins had him on the show a couple weeks ago. Moss Point making the playoffs. Great for him and his Tigers. They did get shut out tonight, 49-0 up at Columbia. Have safe travels back there, Coach Jenkins, and prepare for the 2026 season as the Tigers, again, stopped the losing streak, won a couple games this year, made it to the playoffs, and their season is over. Pascagoula, the 5th-ranked team coming into this week here at Coast Football, 52-32. I shared that live stream there with Coach Shoulders was one of the commentaries there. I just met him at the middle school basketball game. Pirates flying high under Coach Stockstill. They are 52-32 over South Pike. So Pascagoula moves to 10-1 overall. That is the first time they've won 10 games since this format formed in 1981. They did go 10-1 back in 1975. That is 50 years ago. That is Pascagoula. They will host Morton. That is the Pirates. They have not played Morton. Poplarville plays at Forest next week. Thank you, Jason Brown. I would have to write that down because I have so much, like I say, trying to go on, but I will certainly write that down. Poplarville at Forest next week. So let me see. But a nice win for Poplarville tonight. Of course, the defending 4A state champs. And you said Forest. So Forest must have beat Choctaw Central. They are 8-2, 4-0 in the region. And they will be at Forest there. Coach Beach, a company heading back from Brooklyn, Mississippi, where Forest County AHS, as I called a high school football game there many years ago. That's why I know they're located in Brooklyn, Mississippi, just north there of Perk or Wiggins. I'm trying to see if they have played. They have played Poplarville before. That is Forest. They played in 2024. They played last year. They lost to Poplarville 24-21. So Poplarville knows who they are. So certainly appreciate that, Jason Brown. In fact, Jason, if you want to come on and talk about Poplarville, you were at the game, were you not? I believe, Jason, and I'm sorry if I'm drawing blank, that you call the games for Poplarville. I don't know for sure or not, but if you wanted to come on. I believe Hunter Dawkins will be looked to come on here as he is at the Pass Christian game. And again, as A1. So it's just 4 games tonight. Everybody, last night's games, I'm sure everybody knows who did what last night. In 5A, you had Stone defeating East Central, knocking them out the playoffs, 35-21. Stone moves to 5-0 in region play, and they will host Summerall on Friday. In 6A, Hancock takes care of Long Beach, 41-13. They move to 4-6, 3-2 in region play. Casey Cannon, I did share his highlight tonight. He had another awesome night for the Hawks. Of course, he's a senior. I believe he's the leading vote getter for making an all-star team there for the South, the Bernard Blackwell. I'm not for sure on that. Last time I looked, he was there. But a nice win for Hancock, as Hancock now, as I do have the brackets, and I'm not going to have the bracket because George County and I believe a couple other teams are actually playing tonight. So they don't have the bracket set for 6A. They probably have the teams, yes, set that they have won, but they don't have it set for their. Oh, what's that? Oh, yes, Jason Bay. Okay, I knew it was a Jason. I'm sorry. Yes, I was listening to the radio on Talking Ball, but also had Lanny Mixon on X at Lanny Mixon. He's been great giving me live updates along with other people there too, as far as what was happening with that Poplarville game. And again, I'm just scrolling back here. Ty Keys 55-yard touchdown and make it 42-20. The Aggies, it was 30. They scored a 47-yard touchdown. Walker to Brighton to make it 35-20. Ty Keys 17-yard touchdown run. So I mean, Ty Keys 67-yard touchdown run. Again, Mr. 4A just announced today, and also Picayune's Mitchell Smith was Mr. 6A. So congratulations to those two there from Coast Football. Let me go back here to the final scores from last night, which everybody is. They've done that for several years. Thursday night ends 5A through 7A. Hancock, that's what I was mentioning. Hancock defeated Long Beach 41-13. Pascagoula, Singing River Classic. What a game. What a takedown of Gaucher. Gaucher, played great against Picayune that week before. And again, as mentioned, if you haven't heard, that they were so close in those games. They lose to Hancock the week before that, 28 by 1 point, 28-27, I believe. They just needed to hold them. They could not get the stop. Then the week before at PRC, going into the end zone, they fumble it. They most likely would have won with just over a minute or so, I believe, left to go in that game. So Gaucher, just heart-wrenching losses there. And that's the way the ball bounces. Unfortunately, the Gators, who went to the state championship game last year, was there on the sideline. They did lose that, but back-to-back South State champions. Coach High, did lose some players. In fact, Mr. 5A playing tomorrow against my Gulf Coast Bulldogs, that I'll be there up at Scuba calling that at 3:00 on 103.1 and on Bulldog Live with the first points of the game at 2:30 with kickoff at 3. But anyways, Irving has really played and blossomed at EMCC as their quarterback. But I digress. The Gators get beat by Pascagoula 49-12. Like their videos that they have posted out, just the rivalry there. And it is a rivalry because they've alternated wins and losses the past few years, even though Gaucher has really dominated there for several years. PRC, if you haven't known by now, they got the upset at Picayune 28-27. Coach Feaster, a great job there. And both teams were set Picayune couldn't improve. They're getting a home playoff game next week. PRC is going on the road. I believe it's not set because they have games playing tonight at 6 a. I believe they may go to Hattiesburg, but still the starters, you've seen some comments, the starters were still in for both teams. So it wasn't like Picayune was sitting players. And, Coach Stogner, we've heard him in interviews time after time. He plays to win, be it a non-region game and especially a region game against a crosstown team. I would say rival, but they haven't beaten them since 2015. And you say a rival is when, it's a back and forth. So, but a great win there for Coach Feaster. In fact, I texted him last night to congratulate him on the win. And now they will go on the road, like I just mentioned, but still a 7-3 record, 3-2 overall. He went to the playoffs last year. He's just he brought Stone to region championship and region wins and playoff wins. And then as that now at PRC. In the 7A class, fortunately, West Harrison, that was their bye week the last week. They're done at 6-4. The second time they've won 6 games under Coach Quincy Patrick, the most since they formed in 2009. So still just a young school, 16 seasons, but still a great job by Coach Patrick. Is it disappointing? Most definitely disappointing. Where last year they were in 6A, right there on the step of making the playoffs for the first time, and then this year they were rolling, pretty good, and then till they weren't, and they ended up losing to Biloxi, and by 7 points, and that was their fate there, that they couldn't lose by that many points, and actually it was a 3-way tie between Biloxi, St. Martin, and West Harrison. For those who were thinking it was just between Biloxi and St. Martin, it was actually the 3-way tie, and Biloxi won it because they all 3 lost. If St. Martin would have won, they would have been in. Biloxi and St. Martin would have won. D'Iberville would have been out. So that was crazy there. But it all went as I expected, because I expected D'Iberville to beat Biloxi. Thought it would be a closer game. They shut them out 28-0. Coach Ladner has brought his back-to-back playoffs. They are now looking for his first playoff win, in which they will go to Petal next week. Biloxi is in. Coach Dubose, in his second season, has them in the playoffs. And who are they facing? Once again, Oak Grove, which that's all they faced is Oak Grove the past so many seasons, which I actually printed it out, and I'll go over the stats. We'll catch up with that there. And Ocean Springs, 49-21 over St. Martin. Against St. Martin, needed to win. They were in, but I mean, you're going against Coach Bramlett and company there with Solo and just so many weapons there, especially on the defense. 49-21, the Greyhounds did defeat St. Martin again last night. The number 1 team we have ranked, Gulfport, 8-2 overall, 6-0 in region play, 45-13 versus Harrison Central. Harrison Central just struggled obviously this year, and they haven't struggled that away. In fact, it is they're now on a 7-game losing streak to end the season, their longest since 2010. So it's not like they lose a lot in a row. So if you guys have any questions, comments, I'm going to reach out to see about getting a guest or two. And of course, Hunter Dawkins says about 30 minutes. So we'll see if we last 30 minutes, because we are certainly, I'll just reach out to my first guest to see if he will be able to come on. Excuse me for a second. So again, a great overall night there as I'm again trying to work in the guests to come on, and we're going to try to get in several guests. The Coast Top 10, we have West Harrison ranked 10th coming into tonight. And we'll have our first guest on here in about 5 minutes. Coast Top 10, West Harrison, of course, their season was done. They were ranked 10th coming into this week. Stone ranked number 9th. They did win, as I mentioned, 35-21 over East Central. PRC, 8th ranked. Was that right? 8th ranked? No, they should have. That's backwards. PRC was 9th ranked. So that is incorrect there. Anyways, they capped off their regular season again with stopping that 28-game region win streak by Picayune. Poplarville beat Forest County tonight. They were 7th ranked. Pascagoula, and they won. They beat Gaucher. Beat Gaucher there. Patrice-Chan, 5th ranked. They did win their playoff game tonight, 52-32. Yavaville shut out Biloxi at 4th ranked. Picayune, 3rd ranked. They did fall to PRC. Osha Springs beat Osha St. Martin, and Gulfport did beat Harrison Central. So the last top 10 will be out when? Tuesday, 7 p.m. How far will Picayune fall? Put it in the comments. How far do you think that they should fall? They're still Picayune, and they're still a great team. So, and they lost by 7 points. Yes, they lost to Pearl River Central, who's been playing mighty fine and pretty good. So we shall see with the voters. I'm one of the voters, and I'm still trying to see exactly where I'm going to slot them and see what the other 5 voters vote. And then you're going to have the strength of schedule. I mean, Picayune was 8-1. Now they're 8-2. So, they're not going to drop too far. Put it that way. They're not going to drop too far in that. Will they fall? Yes. You lose and then you lost at home. They're gonna drop somewhat there on that part of it. So the only score that we're waiting for, and I believe, is it final? And that is yes. Okay. So George County does lose 32-25. So George County does lose 32-25. I will have to update that, as again that was switched 32-20. Man, that was I don't know if they're gonna make the playoffs. I don't know. I would have to go back and look through the tiebreaker system. You know how those tiebreaker systems are. They can be kind of ill. I had George County winning. And they did lose. So that might cost them a playoff spot. Forest Hill was 1-9. So, and that's going to drop me to 2 losses this week. So it should be 11-3. 11-3. As again, we're fixing to have our first guest come on. And if you have any questions, certainly do ask. And let me know if there's anybody you want on, be it a coach, be it a play-by-play personnel from a team. We will certainly reach out to them. Do not plan on staying on tonight. as we will have our first guest coming in here. He doesn't need a introduction, but Coach Feaster, can you let me mute your mic? Your mic is muted. Let me see. Your mic is muted.
I
There you
got it.
go. There
Okay,
you
you hear
go,
me?
Coach Feast. Congratulations on the great win. Not just last night's win, but on the season that you've had there at Pearl River Central. I mean, you still got to be feeling good tonight. You know, even though you still got your playoff games coming up a week from tonight. I mean, how do you feeling? You still feeling that high? I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I feel good. Just excited for our kids, man. Can't say enough about their effort and you know how such quick buy-in, man. In year two, man, to be where we are, man, is just such a blessing. We still had our ups and downs, but all in all, man, great year. Up to now.
Yeah, so we know the 2015 was the last time that you guys beat them, but I mean to go into Picayune, and I know some fans were commenting like, "Oh, Picayune didn't have their starters or anything," and
Nah, they
I
did.
disagree with
They
that.
did. They
Yes,
had their
because
starters.
I saw the one starter sack your quarterback a couple
Yeah,
times. That's how
yeah,
good he is. You know,
yeah,
so no, it was all, even though both teams again didn't have I say anything to play for, you still was going on the road next week and they still were going to
yes,
host
sir.
next week, but they have a 28 game region win streak, and it's just a cross town, you're so familiar with each
Hey,
other and just right there next. So yes,
yeah.
both of them were playing obviously to win. How are you feeling that I mean, you were up 21 nothing, you had to been feeling good, but I mean, I don't know if you felt, and I was watching most of the game, just felt okay. They're making their way back a little bit, and they did. They come back and tied it up at 21 apiece. How do you control your emotions and your going there at halftime? You were up 21-7 at halftime. What did you tell your team? You know,
We knew they were gonna fight. You gotta remember. I played at Picayune in the early days of setting the foundation. Then I worked there, and it's a sense of pride in that whole community. So I knew the kids were gonna fight, and we told them adversity gonna hit. You finna be in some adverse moments this second half. You just got to be ready. And our kids responded well, man. The Picayune's been there before. They've been there over and over through the last 30 years. So we knew that they were gonna come out and bring their best, man. And I'm just proud of where our kids responded.
they did. I mean, they were just flying all around the ball. I mean, the receptions that they made. That I don't have the names written down, but I mean, I know again, your sons played a great involvement in the game, and then on the defense, I know I wrote down like the open and drive. I guess you guys actually got stopped. I mean, on fourth
Yes,
down,
sir.
so I mean that must have been something like, oh man, your kids' mindsets were like, we were right there, we got stopped. Again, it goes back to I believe your coaching and your philosophies. You had to talk to your players, said, hey, we gotta have to regroup, because it was tough to go to open it down and you get stopped without scoring right
Yeah,
there inside the goal line.
yeah. So that's in that scenario last year. That the whole segment shows growth in our program because I said once we got stopped, I was I hate to say it like this. People gonna say nah, he crazy, but I'm like okay, I'm happy we got stopped because I want to see the growth because last year they scored first play. I mean, but our kids' fault. They we got a three and out. And I said in my head, okay, it's on. I said it's on. Then we came to play, and again, it was just one of those growth moments. That's what I call it, those growth moments. And I feel like, buy-in that lets you know the buy-in is a little stronger now. So, man, I'm proud of them, man. I'm proud of them.
Yeah, most definitely. Right now, I don't know if you know who you're playing, because again, there was team like George County was in. See, I don't know if they're going to make the playoffs. They just lost, but I don't know if you know who you're playing, because I don't, because I think they had games tonight to fill out the brackets. I know you're on the road, but do you know who you
Yeah,
are
I think
playing?
we go to Hattiesburg. We got to go to Hattiesburg.
That's what I
That's what
heard.
I think.
Yes.
Yeah, but they hadn't sent it out yet, so it's unofficial. But yeah, we go to Hattiesburg. I think we
Yeah.
go to
Well,
Hattiesburg.
and I knew, talking when you did the interview with Talking Ball, and and I know you mentioned it at media day about the culture there and about changing the culture. Uh, I mean, is it starting with the players, or do you try to go outward and work your way into the players to where the fans, just everybody in the community? Does it start inside with the team with you, or do you try to
Yeah,
go outside, and bring it into the team as far as the change of culture? Hey, we got to think, and this is a big game that changed that culture, I believe.
well, it starts inside the field house, but of course, the field house is an extension of every home of each player, and then if when things like this happen, we know for a fact if 30 something players played last night, that was 30 something players. When I say 30 something players, 30 something players actually involved heavily in the game. That's 30 something families that supports us. Because kids don't get that type of effort without the support of their families. And if so, you just got to think. I look at it like this: when you reach one, you to reach two. And so it just multiplies. So just hopefully, that 80 is spreading that spirit of belief again. But the biggest thing, I told the kids before the game, and as a coach staff, tried to reiterate all week was that um, we it's not about winning and losing at this point. It's about our standard, and our standard is we're going to bring our best, and that's it. I just want to know we're going to go if we're going to go out and fight. And I think if your community, like you look at the Picayunes, the Poplarvilles, their fans are their. I like kids need support. I hate to say fans, but it should be a support, because they're kids. I feel like if your support group, your community know that you're going to go out and bring your best each and every night and fight to the finish, they're going to support you. And that's how the culture spreads. And, I mean, man, I was at Stone 7 years, man. It's hard to come in and just change something overnight, especially in 2025. It was a lot of work to be done. But I think we're moving in the right direction. I feel like we're 1 year ahead of schedule. And, I can't say enough.
Yes, yes, most definitely they are. Certainly, like I say, the culture is shifting, and in just the second year, you made back to back playoffs, which it hasn't
Yes,
happened
sir.
since 14 to 15. So I mean, like I say, and you do look to appear to go to Hattiesburg, and of course, looking at the stats last year, you guys lost 42-0, and they lead the series 7 games to 1, similar to what pick you just had. So I mean, your team just has to be, like say, flying high from last night. What'd you tell them after the game? I saw you guys on the field after Picayune had left. You guys were still on the field, and I saw a
Right.
video that you posted earlier. I guess they were they chanting? I didn't hear what they were chanting, but I think that was you that ran down the field as you should be in excitement with the music playing, because I know the Lord is always a part of your life and you wear it on your sleeve. What were they chanting? And I mean, they're at the end of the game, just
It
PRC.
was
I don't know. I didn't hear.
Yeah, it was several chants. One was PRC, and one was, they started yelling my name, and I stopped them. I let them know, man, it's the kids. And then we had our moment, as a team, man. I just reiterated, that coming back, and believing in, we believed in them from the start. We believed in kids, because like I say, 9 years of losing is a long time. That's a
It
long
it
time, man.
definitely
And
it
so,
it definitely
so
is.
just instilling them, getting that trust, man. We've spent all of last year, this off season, just trying to get the kids, make sure they trust us, knowing that hey, we here for the long haul. Because you're not every time a job come over, people think you're leaving. I'm not always looking for something better, man.
Eh,
When God moves you, that's when it's time to move. And so we just had that moment on the field, let the kids know, man, how much we love them and care about them, and we appreciate their effort. And that it was all them. They got to do it for one another, and that's what it was, man. And just hammered that home, man.
was this? Would you say that in your high school, as far as in coaching, that you have coached, at Stone for those 7 years, and you went to that Moss Point for that year, and then now 2 years, second year at PRC. Is this your obviously you would have this? I would think is your biggest win, as a coach. I mean, is it not? Do you feel the same way? I mean,
I
is there any other
know.
game that?
The third round playoffs, Poplarville, when we played Poplarville
Yep.
and stuff.
I was watching that game too. That was kind of a
Yeah.
stunner there. That was
Yeah.
2002. I'm sorry, 2022. You guys beat
Yes,
them
sir.
32-28, and
Yes,
unfortunately
sir.
lost in South State to Mendenhall. But still, to beat Poplarville, and it's kind of crazy to think about it. Just here recently, that all three Pearl River schools played each other, where Picayune beat Poplarville, Poplarville beat PRC, PRC beat Picayune. That's crazy how that has worked out there. But you got the fans. I mean, they have to be believing. You see Jesse Crawford, putting out there, let's go, Coach Feaster. So how long do you let the players celebrate this win? When do you guys?
I told them they had 1 hour.
Oh, 1 hour,
1 hour,
man,
baby.
1 hour,
1 hour, man.
man.
Because I mean, yeah, me, man. Like the older I get, the more I'm. Hey, if we gonna tell it how it is, we gonna tell it how it is. So, you know, I have been blessed in this profession, and God has really, really blessed me in this profession. But it's been a hard road, man. I mean, and what I say is, man, each program that got, taking over Stone back in 2016. Uh, it was a program where kids didn't necessarily believe that they could win, and we was able to build a program. The last group was the first group to go from middle school to high school under, one head coach. It was me, and we got
Oh
it to
yeah,
where it felt like they could beat anybody. And going to Moss Point with 21 kids, and when I got to Moss Point with 21 kids on the team, 21.
man,
Put that into perspective. Then you
man.
come to PRC, 9 losing seasons. I'm a firm believer, man. What God got for you, you gonna get. And they don't know, they know, our standard. We play to the standard, not the scoreboard, and I live by that. And I know we work hard. I know that our kids work real hard. I feel like we got a great strength conditioning program, and we teach, man. That's what we do. I take pride in teaching. My assistant coaches take pride in teaching, and so it would. I, if you give your best, you always got a chance. And as long as we go out and bring our best, we always got a chance. I'm not gonna sit here and say yes. I thought we would go beat Picayune, but I got a video. I told the kids before the game, we're not looking for a victory. We're looking for us to go out and bring our best. We're our biggest opponent, like I always tell the kids. And if y'all go out and bring your best, the scoreboard will take care of itself. Even if you don't win, you're gonna be okay. And that's the truth. So I wasn't. I mean, I knew. I knew. I mean, we we were prepared. We're gonna be prepared as long as. But right now we're still building consistency within the program. You know how it goes. So, but yeah,
Oh
I'm proud of
yes,
them, man.
yes.
Yeah, I'm proud of them.
Oh yes, as you should be. That is again. You only give them 1 hour, so they're ready. So when actually you guys going to get together as a team? Is it on
I
Sunday?
will.
That's what I usually hear from other coaches, but I don't.
Sunday
Uh,
we'll get in and we'll game plan as a staff, and we'll have kids come in and we start some of our offensive preparation and do a little indoor work. I always, we work on, weekends. The kids can come in. We'll get some, we'll throw the ball around and they get out there. I like to do some speed work in season and individual work. And Monday we'll get right back to it.
yeah, it's great to play another week. I'll certainly tell you that. And again, a great win. That 28 to 21 win at Picayune. You need to tell the AD to give you a raise, but and I know you're the AD. You're a man of many hats there,
Man, it's a
Coach
blessing,
Feaster,
man.
and
Yes, sir.
certainly glad that you join us. And of course, we want you to win. As we want all coast teams to win,
Yes,
and
sir.
PRC is part of the coast. Yes,
Hey,
right there. What
that's
is that?
mama there. Nora, that's my mama.
Nor
Yeah,
Palms.
yeah.
Okay.
Strong Swedson.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I know you
Yes,
wear it
sir.
all the time, and you're true to since the media day. Since I met you a couple years ago, I only get to see you a few times there at media day, but you're always consistent as far as what you just said there. We're not looking at the scoreboard, and I'm sure the players start to believe that because some players probably like, we ain't looking at the scoreboard. Oh, this is what he means. If we do this, the scoreboard is going to we're going to be
Man.
on the top side of the score. So
Hey, look, hey,
that
hey,
is
hey,
certainly,
man, I appreciate you, man, and like I say, I don't look at the scoreboard, man. We go, that will take care of itself, man. Bring your best. You're your biggest opponent, man. I say it, and I'm grateful, man. I'm blessed, and I appreciate you guys like you, man, covering this. You and Smack and Baz, man.
yeah.
I mean, I appreciate y'all, and but I say this here too, man. Shout out to my boys, man. Over there in Stone, man. They I got a few kids over there that I still have a relationship with and work with, man. I'm proud of them. I'm, you know, proud of the coaches, man, and I'm happy for them, man.
Yeah,
So
you
shout out
you
to
left
them,
them
man.
in a good place. With Coach Acock there, and they're undefeated region champions. They'll host Summerall, I do believe. But and your son, who was I just shared it. It was what athlete of the week. So I mean, and I know he had that great game the other week. I mean, he's just, and he's not a senior, correct? He's
Nah,
just a
man,
what?
nah.
He's
Sophomore.
just a sophomore. Again, I saw the
Uh,
Talking Ball interview with pregame, and he was showing highlights, and I've seen highlights, but I mean, you got him well. And for those, and I personally, I guess, don't know your football background per se. I know you played junior college, if not mistaken. What position did you play in in
I
school,
played.
in junior college,
I,
or
I was the last of the big linebackers, man. I played linebacker in high school,
linebacker?
uh, and I went on. I went to Pearl River Community College, where I was inducted in the Hall of Fame in 2017, and was part of the first
Man,
winning season in I think 8 seasons there back in '02. We was there. They were down for a while, and Scott Maxfield came in my sophomore year, and we had the first winning season like 8 seasons, and turned it around, man. And then I went on to the University of Cincinnati, where I played there 2 years, man, and graduated, and but I could always throw and catch, man. I'm from the old school. We had to be able to do everything. But nah, man, my
yes.
kids, man, I'm proud of them, man. They work hard, man. I say they work hard because I make them work hard, but I never have to pull teeth to get them to work, and so I, they both of them doing better than daddy, man. I just pray that they continue to create their own path and create their own legacy, and that's what it's all about.
Well, they got the right person to guide them. And I did see the Cincinnati helmet again in that interview you did with Talking Ball. And uh, how'd you, as far as to get into coaching, who was your mentor, if you had one, and where was your
Um,
first coaching job? Not as a head coach, but
oh,
how'd you
man,
get
actually,
into coaching?
I, I, I don't know, man. It's weird, I was called to do it, man. I came home and I was working. I was a school resource officer, and I ran a janitorial service for one of my friends' mothers. I was like one of her managers, and I would do the school resource officer during the day, do that at night, and I met a kid, man, named well, I knew him, hadn't seen him since he was a young little boy. So when I come home from college, I seen him. His name was Jonathan Billups. I met him, man, and we, started developing a relationship, and he was a defensive lineman. But I love D line play. I played D line in college. I didn't get a chance to say that. I got up to about 300 pounds. But I love D line play, and there was a couple other kids, man. I say Frank Gaines and guys like that. Well, to make a long story short, man, those kids kind of pulled. They like, "Pete, why don't you coach?" I was like, man, I didn't know a lot of coaches. The only coach I knew growing up was Coach Marion Chief Henley of Carver High, because my grandmother. I was raised by my grandmother and my mother majority of my life. And Coach Marion Chief Henley of Carver High. You go look it up. South Panola broke their winning streak. Over there at Picayune, man. That was before integration, and then I mean, played high school ball. I felt like I could play. People say I was a good football player, but I always felt like I could teach other people. And I I started coaching. Kid came to me one day, say, "Fee, Coach Lee wants you to come see him," and that's how it started. In 2006, man, I started working at Picayune. Picayune, that was my first season, 2006, man, and I I couldn't see myself doing anything else, man. And I worked there. I worked at Picayune 6 years, Pearl River Central 4, Stone 7, and the rest is history, man. But Coach William Jones, I don't know if you remember him, used to be the DC at East Mississippi when they won those first three championships.
Oh,
And he
I've
was
heard
at
of
he
them.
was
Yeah.
yeah, he was the head coach of Pearl Community College for a few years back in I think 13 through 15 or somewhere up in there. But anyway, he was my defensive line coach in junior college, and I was his first Division I player. His first year in JUCO. I was his first Division I D lineman, and
Huh.
he played a huge role. When I was in Cincinnati, he would call me, man, check on me. Then I got into coaching, maybe still would call, and it just he was at practice not too long ago, and just
Oh, man.
stuck with me, man. Yeah, man. So and I thank God for it, man. You know, so it's a blessing, man. I love what I do. I couldn't see myself doing anything else, and I just love it, man.
Yeah, well, it shows. It definitely shows. Like say the compassion and like say teaching the players, just not just the skill of the game. So, off the field too. So I certainly appreciate that. So on a off question, like tomorrow, are you the type to watch college football, or just like I need to get away from football?
Man, you're not gonna believe it. Since I think since 2016, man. When I took over at Stone, man, I could count the games I've been able to sit down and watch because it's just the amount of time you have to pour into the programs, and not to downplay any of the schools, man. But I've probably always been understaffed. It's not like we walking out there with 7, 8, 5, 4 and 5 stars. I mean, so man, there's a lot of coaching going on, man. You got to try to find. And by the time you get to
Yeah.
watching all that huddle, you. So I haven't had the opportunity to sit down and watch a lot of games, but I try to keep up with it. Try to keep up with my alma mater, Cincinnati. And then I got kids that play the Division I that are trained. Kids play Division I AA, Division II. I got a nephew. My nephew was Nike Ratcliffe, man, from Picayune. He was that third street running back a few years ago. Played DB. Now that's my sister's son,
Uh,
and so he plays up at
oh.
Dartmouth. Yeah, man. So I don't have a huge family. I come from a small family over here. So, but
Yeah.
anyway, man, I try to keep up with the kids and and different things like that. But I hopefully I get the opportunity next few years, man, to get a chance to sit down and watch
Yeah.
some college football games with my, and I'll be able to hear that feast tonight, hopefully. So
Yes, yes, most definitely. Well, I certainly appreciate you joining us here tonight, and I certainly will give you maybe give you a call on the way back from Hattiesburg, thinking all positive thoughts, because like I say,
well,
you
yeah,
teams believing in,
win, lose, or draw is win and lose, man. It's gonna
yes,
be positive. And that's what I'm working on, man. Is that again, I gotta stay true to that. I just want us to bring our best.
yes,
That's what God
yes,
requires from us. So you call, in the past I wouldn't answer. I didn't want to talk after a loss, but you can call after a win. You can call, man. So I appreciate
uh,
what y'all do. I really do.
yes. So keep the videos coming. Like I said, you post videos, but don't know. I share on my Facebook page.
Yes,
It's
sir.
inspiring football related videos, and most definitely it's we enjoy your time there, Coach Feaster. So again, good luck. As again, unofficially, officially, I guess it looks like it will be Hattiesburg, and
Yes, sir.
we believe in you, and we'll keep up with that game next week. But
Hey, man,
so
thank you,
get
man.
the yes, thank you, Coach Feaster. We'll catch up with you.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. All right, that was nice. That was nice to have Coach Feaster on there. So we're certainly going to try to see Hunter Dawkins should be coming up here at the top of the hour. And appreciate it, Jesse and Chris Grace. Yes, I didn't. That Picayune will play George County. So George, that's great. George County made it in the playoffs again. I know they lost tonight, but then they go to Picayune, who of course Coach Stogner and them will have his team ready to go there as playoffs will start for 5A through 7A next Friday, along with all the classes will be in there. All the classes 1 through 7. Coast, if you don't know, Coast football doesn't have a team in 2A, and right now we don't have a team that qualified for 1A. And in 3A, we lost our St. Patrick team tonight. Coach Nate, they did lose tonight. They did make the playoffs, which is great. They did lose tonight, so we are down. And I will post tomorrow. I'll be leaving early tomorrow, about 9 a.m. to head up to Scuba in the VIP van bus for a 3:00 kickoff. That is Gulf Coast at East Mississippi at 3:00 kickoff. I will be heading up there, so I don't know if I'll be able to get a hot or not there, but we do have, again, Poplarville did win tonight. Pass Christian did win tonight. They will host Morton. They have not played Morton. When I looked it up, they have never played Morton, but they will host Morton, so that would be good in Pass Christian. And Pass Christian, they're which sometimes stats pass me by. They're the prolific offense. They're scoring the most, and yet they're also allowing the least. That is Pass Christian. Of course, Coach Stockstill, they did put up 32 against them. That is South Pike did there, but 10-1, the first time since 1975 that they have won 10 games. And then, of course, this format that we're under now, 1981, this first time they won 10 games under this current format, which formed in 1981. And we may have Coach Stockstill come on with us tonight. I've reached out to another coach to see if he would come on, but understandably, most of the teams are off tonight after last night's wins. Again, Gulfport taking care of business. They will now host Northwest Rankin, and that's the stats I was getting to. I went over somewhat today. Yes, Dion. Well, thankful for Coach Fit. He's really turned. I'm like I say, he's true. Like I said, I've met him a few times in person, and Coach Feaster is the real deal, I guess you want to say. Not saying not other coaches are not. It just it was a great win last night in Picayune. And if that was a first round playoff game, that would have been out of my stat shocker scale, 1 to 5, 5 being shock the world. That win last night, I was thinking about it today. I would say maybe about a 2.5, a 2. I mean, they're in Picayune. They have the 28 straight region wins. The record is 33. They're not going to get it this year if they win, because that is their last region game. I would say a 2, because is it a great shocker? No, it's not a huge shocker. We're going to bring on Hunter Dawkins, but it was still a shocking game that PRC did win last night in Picayune. So I would rate it at least a 2, a shock that they won, maybe a 2.5. So, anyways, Hunter Dawkins, that doesn't look like your office, Hunter.
No, man. I'm driving up north to Starkville. I've got.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I got state tomorrow. I got to be there before 8:30 in the morning because Barstool and ESPN SEC Network are there. So, Feinbaum and all of them are all crowding up. The Starkville's enough away, so I got to stay up somewhere like in Hattiesburg, at least, where I've got some places I could head to up there. But no, I'll be able to talk. Yep. Go ahead.
What's the game? What's the game that you're going? You said Mississippi State, right?
Yeah, Mississippi State's playing against. They're hosting Georgia at Davis Wade, and it's at 11. So that's the only big deal.
Yeah,
and it wouldn't be a big problem if SEC Network and Barstool were not there. Then it would. That's the reason it's making it an issue, because they're blocking off traffic at about 8:30. And so I got to get to my parking spot and all that area. But
that's no problem.
Yeah, but no, but yeah, we had some good games the last couple days, and I bet I'm not sure what your record was, but I'm pretty sure you weren't perfect this time around.
Yes, I was not perfect because I thought I won. I thought I just missed one game, and you obviously know the game, or you would think you would know the game. PRC, which
Yeah, yeah.
we just had Coach Feaster on, a great interview. Glad he was able to make it on. It spoke to him for a few minutes. Just a great coach all around.
Yeah,
And yes, I did have Picayune. They're at home against PRC, and 28-21. PRC snaps 28 straight region wins for Picayune. So, of course, Ocean Springs has theirs snapped earlier by Gulfport weeks ago, and now Picayune. So, Stone's record of 33 straight region wins is safe for a little while now, anyways. But a great win for PRC. Again, people were saying, maybe Picayune didn't have their starters. I was watching that game somewhat for the most part, not every play, but they had their starters. Coach Stogner had their starters in there, and
so,
they wanted to win. So, it just happens PRC made the plays, and even with a 21-7 halftime lead of PRC, I knew Picayune. I said Picayune was going to come back. They came back, but then PRC scored there late in the game to take it 28-21. So I missed
well,
that game.
Matt, I played against John in high school. John was a really outstanding, almost all American. He was all state linebacker from Picayune, and he was a really good player. And of course, being in that system, when you're in that system, you kind of know what to expect. And Cody Stogner hasn't really changed a lot, which is good because, as legendary coach Dodd Lee left a pretty good system. He hasn't changed a whole lot. And, once you've been in that system, as Coach Feaster was, you kind of know what to expect. And, I'm not saying that it wasn't a little bit of, you know, calls one way or the other, but it kind of makes sense that he was the guy to be able to break that code.
He did. He certainly was. Of course, earlier, the Picayune did lose earlier in the year, so it wasn't like they was their first loss. But yeah, you don't
Sure.
like to lose going into the playoffs, but now they, from what I'm being told by the fans, I didn't see officially, but I'm assuming it's probably correct that George County will be playing at Picayune. Of course, the other game they lost was when they hosted Ocean Springs back in week 4, that 56 to
Yeah.
42. But now they'll host George County again, from what I'm being told. I would think that is correct, and then PRC will go to Hattiesburg. They have beaten Hattiesburg one time out of 8 games. And last year they got shut out, but of course it's a totally different team this year. And that's the first time really I got to watch a little bit more of PRC. I watched Picayune several times because Clay Sweet and Slick Rick there with the live stream certainly appreciate it. Was able to see Picayune more, and Zay Dennett he scored a couple times. I feel they coming back, but Blue Devils give it to them. And I don't know if you heard the interview. I said, how long do you give the players to celebrate this? A day or two? He said an hour. You get an hour to
Yep.
celebrate it. So,
That's
hey,
right.
you do, because now you're playing, now you get, not many teams are playing this extra week in football. So,
No,
unfortunately, like St.
sure,
Patrick,
sure.
they lost tonight. So, yes.
Yeah. What was do you know what the final score of that game was?
Yeah, yes. I had all the final scores there. Hunter, we had Columbia, of course, who's undefeated. They're now 11-0. They shut out Moss Point. Coach Jenkins, we had on a few weeks ago, making the playoffs for Moss Point. They lost 49-0. And the St. Patrick score was not much better. Unfortunately, Franklin County 42-0 over St. Patrick. They hosted St. Patrick. So Coach Nate, in the playoffs for St. Patrick, it's still to make the playoffs. I know some people will say it's 4 teams make the playoffs. Yes. Do I like it? No. But they win the right game against St. Stanislaus, and they are in the playoffs for the first time since 2020. That is Fighting Irish, and they did lose tonight, 42-0. to nothing. And the other score, of course,
And
Poplarville wins. Go ahead.
Well, and as you remember, Matt, when you and I talked with Coach Nate, it's more of a step in the right direction. And it's tough when you're a private school playing in a public league where you have to travel quite a bit, as they have. But I think that he's setting the right foundation, and I really believe, Coach Nate is going to do a good job over there, at least with the young group that he has, and hopefully, they'll have a little bit more success next year.
Yes, and speaking of, I'm trying to do 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. Coach Nate, of course, coached at St. Stanislaus, just as you did. And I'm
Yep.
seeing tonight that St. Stanislaus head coach has stepped down. So he is
Wow.
not there, as what I'm seeing reporting, that he is not there thus longer. As far as St. Stanislaus has really struggled this year, again, losing to St. Patrick, not making the playoffs. But anyways, I digress. And the other game, like I say, George County does lose 32-25. That is my other game I lost. I had George County winning. Forest Hill 1-9, now 2-9, and they won 32-25. So I did. I haven't even updated my overall rankings, but I did go now 11-2, if not mistaken.
Forest
11-2.
Hill beat George County, but there that means George County's playing Picayune next week.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes, that's what some
That's
again.
an interesting matchup.
I'm gonna have to look and see if Brandon has posted those, Brandon Shields, that is, to see if he's posted the update on who's going where. Again, tomorrow morning I'll be leaving. I'll be catching up with you tomorrow. I'll be leaving 9 o'clock in the morning to go up to Scuba. So for that, let me see.
You'll be riding on the same 45 that I am. So.
Yeah, I'll be in the back seat with trying to do my stuff for coach football as I'm riding. They escort me up there. He does have the Brandon Shields has the playoff matchups. I'm not necessarily going to go over 1A or 2A. Let me see what he has. I see 1A or 2A. Okay, here's 3A. I'm not going to go over 3A because unfortunately we don't have, unless somebody in the comments say, hey, what's this team? Who's this team playing? I'm not going to say it. 4A. Here's 4A. I'm just going to concern with the South, which you already knew before you left that game at Pass Christian. They are hosting Morton, who they have not played Morton. I looked it up and I did not see them having ever played Morton. But Morton at Pass Christian, and then Poplarville at Forest is the two coast teams. The other teams, there's 2, 4, 6, 8 teams left, as this will be round 2 of these games. Macomb at Leake County, Poplarville at Forest, Newton County at Columbia, and Morton at Pass Christian. So those are the teams that are left in the 4A.
The farthest Pass Christian has ever played up in that direction was Newton, when they played with Coach Carmody was coaching about close to 3.5 years ago. He coached them up, and they lost to Newton County by a very small margin. It was the first round, but that's the farthest Pass Christian has ever gone up north to play in the playoffs. So,
Okay. I was trying to see who that. I think Coach Cox.
They'll be hosting the game next week against Morton. So.
Yes, and then I'm also looking at the 7A. I'm sorry, not 7A, 6A, who I just mentioned about Pearl River Central. And it is official, which we thought it was. Talking to Coach Feaster. PRC at Hattiesburg, Terry at Pascagoula, George County at West Jones, George County at Picayune. I was getting ahead of myself. And Hancock at West Jones. So those are the matchups in 6A. It couldn't be decided till tonight because games were being played tonight. So George County, even though with the loss, they do make it into the playoffs there.
Well, PRC against Hattiesburg, that's going to be a pretty excellent matchup too, because both of those teams are definitely playing on the hot streak right now.
Yes, they most definitely are. As I was trying to get the playoff posted here for the 6A on Facebook, anyways. So yes, I think I see Coach Stockstill on another live stream, which is fine.
Yeah. I asked him to come on. I didn't send him the link, but I did ask him. Once we started talking, I said, when I'm headed up to Starkville, if he wouldn't mind coming on, and he agreed to. So.
All right. Yeah. That's no problem. That's what I'm trying to get some stuff. So anyway, let me go back over to, and we know 7A is going to have Northwest Rankin at Gulfport, Brandon at Oak Grove.
Yeah.
Biloxi. I'm sorry, Brandon at Ocean Springs. Brandon at Ocean Springs, Biloxi at Oak Grove, D'Iberville at Petal. So
that's correct. Despite some of the misinformation both you and I were given last night, that is the accurate information now.
Yeah, that and just some of the stats I was looking up. Like I said, Northwest Rankin at Gulfport. Of course, Gulfport lost their 2 first home games, and then they won 3 straight. And they've won 3 straight there at home. That is the Admirals. So, and they've lost 4 straight round 1 playoff games. So hopefully that will change there. And Coach Penoff has never lost 2 straight, and he's already has lost 3 straight. So Gulfport, is just playing better. They just got to finish the games, which at home they didn't against Picayune, and they didn't against, I believe, Petal. But they've been playing real good ball. Crosby there over 50-something total touchdowns.
Yep. Talk to you about, Matt, I know Gulfport does not have a good history in the playoffs in the first round against Brandon and Oak Grove, but I could not find if they have ever played Northwest Rankin in the playoffs. Maybe you could find it. I don't believe that I can.
Yes. The Admirals, they played 2 games against Northwest Rankin. In 1999, it was the first round of the playoffs, and then in 2019 they played them, and that was a regular season game, and they won both. The Admirals did. So it's been since 2019 since they played Northwest Rankin. Again, one of the games was in 1999, and it wasn't a first round playoff win. So
they did have them in the playoffs. Okay, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, in 1999, as Prince was partying like it was 1999. Yes, they did win that playoff game. So it's been a little bit there. And as far as first round games, I just mentioned they've lost 4 straight. That is, the last time they won was 2019. That is Gulfport winning a round 1 playoff game. The Cougars 9-11. They've lost 2 straight in 22, and then last year they lost to Ocean Springs last year in round 1. That is Northwest Rankin. They lost 2 straight. So doing a quick look, and I don't do picks, official picks like I do every week. And I have Gulfport. They're 6-point favorites is what I have right now. Now, I mean, if I don't know if I'm going to make it necessarily an official pick or not, but that is that's what it's looking like now.
Seen that seen Northwest Rankin. I haven't seen Northwest Rankin play. The only score that I really know, I knew that they had a 3-0 win, and in the game against Petal last night was the only real.
And I'm losing you as you're traveling up to Hattiesburg there. You there, Hunter? You're there. I can hear you now.
I'm just getting through the country. That old standard.
Yeah. Well, I do have Georgia. I do have Georgia winning, but I think it's 9 points is what the line is against Mississippi State. So we'll see how that plays out tomorrow. But yeah, 11 o'clock kickoff. That's kind of early.
That's an early one. It's November, so hey, they want to get the games done early. So
yeah, well, that's why I was trying to get this other guest on. I haven't talked to Coach.
I was gonna say, do you want me to text Stock still?
I don't know if he is still on or not. I mean, you always can, yeah. Yeah, he's not on there. So, but yeah, if you wanted to do that.
Give me just a second.
So we'll see what Coach Stockstill and if you guys have any questions, please ask. Let me go back to the live stream because I'm doing a little bit of this and that to set the playoff games up. So as I'm posting now, you can see on the Facebook page for those who are on Facebook. I know I have this on X, but in 4A class again, Macomb at Leaks Central, Poplarville will go to Forest, Newton County at Columbia, Morton at Pass Christian, and Pass Christian 10 wins for them. First time that they've had 10 wins in this era since 1981 when this format had started, but it is actually the second time. They did it in 1975 there as Coach Stockstill. I mean, he's he's won back-to-back state champion, so he certainly knows how to win. Again, the coach top 10, the last top 10 will be out on Tuesday, as we had the teams that lost. Gulfport was ranked number 1. They won. Ocean Springs won. They were second ranked. Picayune lost. They were third ranked. Dialville won. They're fourth ranked. Pass Christian won. Fifth ranked. Gula, sixth ranked. Poplarville did win. Seventh ranked. Stone won. PRC won. They're ninth ranked. West Harrison their season is dead. They didn't play. They're done. 10th ranked. The teams that were outside, I don't know if anybody's going to jump in. I mean, St. Martin lost, Biloxi lost, Hancock did win, but their strength of schedule, was not there. Gaucher lost, George County lost. I mean, who's going to jump in the top 10? If you fans, know, then certainly post who you think would be in the top 10 or who would knock off a team that's on the bubble like a West Harrison, who put up 6 wins, under Coach Quincy Patrick. He had tied the most wins of 6. unfortunately did not make the playoffs. Again, the state championship games will be the first week of December, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. They're the 7 games, as we're trying to effort another coach on here for the fans. And
should be good from now, Matt. Sorry.
What's that? Okay.
We should be good now. I'm a little bit past all the country, you know. There's a little bit of country wherever, even though you're living in South Mississippi, it's there's a little bit of a Verizon blank spots. So.
Yeah, that's no problem. That's no problem. I'm just trying to do a multitask here as the fans are still coming. I know, like I said, the majority of the games were last night. So, again, I posted the region title, the most. You got what?
I sent Stock the live stream, so I'm not sure if he'll be able to make it or not, but
Okay. Well, that's no problem. I reached out to another coach, and again, they're not playing tonight, so I was glad that Coach Feaster was able to come on when he did there. So tonight, so appreciate him coming on there. And like I said, we're here, for the fans. Anything that they want, if they want any questions, if they have any questions. Yeah, next Friday, all the games will be on next Friday. All the playoff games, 7:00. Again, it'll be on the Facebook page as I just posted them. But in the 7A Northwest Rankin at Gulfport, Brandon at Ocean Springs, Biloxi at Oak Grove, Diabloville at Petal. And again, I went over I looked up the stats. Of course, being a stat person, and from 2021 to 2024 last year, we're talking about 7A. There are 7A teams. Their record is 5-16. The 5 wins came by one team. And you know who that is, because that was Ocean Springs. In 2021, Ocean Springs won a playoff game and they lost the next one. So it was 1-4. In 2022, Ocean Springs, won 2 games, and then it was 2-4 as far as the combined of the other teams in the region. 2023, we got swept. That was disheartening there. And then last year, 2-4 again. Ocean Springs went and obviously played in South State. 5-16, the big school in 7A, is struggling. It's struggling. This year, do we feel better this year? Yes. We do feel better this year in having, what the teams that we do have going in there. But looking at again,
Matt,
we're looking at
Matt. Just letting you know, Coach Stockstill. Just letting you know, Coach Stockstill texted me. He said 5 minutes, and I said okay. So that was.
All right. Yeah. But I mentioned about Gulfport. Well, Ocean Springs will host Brandon. Brandon leads the series 6-1. The only win for the Greyhounds came in game 1 of that series, 2015, 19-12. They did win. 5 of the games were playoff games. Brandon's 3-2 on the road. Ocean Springs 3-1 at home. Ocean Springs is 6-0 on the road. They're at home, which is good. Brandon's winning 6 straight playoff games in round 1. They're 19-9, winning 6 straight. Their last loss, 2015. I remember it because I was watching it. Double D was there. 2015, Hancock beat Brandon in round 1, 30-27. Wow. That was some great night there. But that was the last time Brandon lost a round 1 playoff game. Ocean Springs has won 3 out of the last 4 playoff round 1 games. And they do have 8 straight playoff appearances there for Ocean Springs. Coach Bramlett is 2-2 in the playoffs. This is his 3rd season. Last season he went to South State. Of course, we know about Brandon. If you don't know about Brandon, Coach Lance Pogue stepped down after week 8. They were 3-5. Bring in Coach Eugene Clinton, who has taken over Brandon. Now they're in the playoffs. Now they go travel to Ocean Springs. My predictions, looking at it, is a 32-22 Ocean Springs win there. And again, that's the games next week. And I do have the North games. I'm not mentioning the North games. You don't need no North games right now. In the 5A brackets, Hunter, Summerall at Stone. Of course, they're the region champions. South Jones at Wayne County. Northeast Jones at Brookhaven, and Purvis at Laurel. You don't see a Van Cleve, unfortunately, or an East Central. Unfortunately, I was hoping that one of those teams would get in. So Stone is the only team that is in the 5A class there. So again, we're going to be having Coach Stockstill coming on. He just his team just defeated South Pike tonight to win. It was 52-32. And then on to D'Iberville at Petal. D'Iberville 5-0 on road games this year. Petal's 4-1 at home, so that's pretty good for Coach Ladner there with the Warriors. First round playoff records: D'Iberville's 13-16. They've lost 2 straight in 21-24. The last win was against Petal in 2020. Petal's 9-16 in round 1 playoff games. They won last year at Gulfport. They make the playoffs last year and then in 2020, so they haven't been consistent in that part. Of course, Marcus Boyle's 30th season as a head coach, 5 state championships, though the last one in 1995. Second time with Petal. He was with Petal from 2012 to 2020 and with no state title. Of course, Coach Ladner, his 4th season, is best yet with 7 wins this year in playoffs and back-to-back seasons. He just needs now to get over the hump and win that game. Unfortunately, the projection has Petal winning 29-26, but I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. I put in the numbers and it spits it out. It's not like me picking it. So I don't know because their Warriors defense is true. I mean, they do have a great defense. Petal, they're at home, but Warriors 5-0 on the road. So, we shall see how that plays out on that away. So I guess the other coach who I text may be out celebrating from last night's win. And again, we'll have Coach Stockstill should be coming on here shortly, as it's coming up on 11:30 here at night. And again, it's not a typical game night, just 5 games tonight with, again, the 4 playoff games that were played tonight, and then the George County game, which was moved to tonight against Forest Hill, and they did lose 32-25. But George County's still in the playoffs, and they will go to Picayune. But again, Pass Christian over South Pike in the 4A playoffs. Columbia shut out Moss Point. Of course, Moss Point, Coach Jenkins, his first year there in the playoffs for the first time in a little while. They're 49-0 Columbia over Moss Point, and Poplarville 49-20 at Forest County AHS. And 3A, Franklin County shuts out St. Patrick. Coach Nate there with St. Patrick 42-0 there. And we'll be getting into talking with the Pass Christian game. I did watch the live stream. I was glad they were able to live stream. It does cost extra money to live stream playoff games, so it's around $700. So any kind of support you can have of it. So, but we will bring in, the Coach Stockstill making his media rounds here tonight. Great to have you there, Coach Stockstill, and a great win tonight. Maybe not the prettiest, because I did watch most of that game, and we'll go over some of the highlights, but a win is a win, and 52-32, you surely would take it and stay right at home and host Morton for the first time, as you guys have never played Morton, that is Pass Christian. So how do you feel about tonight's game, Coach?
Well, you said it right. It wasn't pretty, but survive and advance was the goal for the week. and we knew going in that we have not seen the size and the speed and athleticism that these guys were going to put on the field. Their record was no indication of the caliber talent on that team. They played an absolute gauntlet of a schedule, and played everybody pretty solid too. And we knew they weren't going away. It was just a matter of convincing the team to play hard for 4 quarters, and it wasn't our best. We played some sloppy football at times and made some mistakes. And if you can play sloppy and still win by 3 scores, I think you had a good night. So that's kind of where we're at, and we'll take it and put it behind us and get on to next week.
Yes, I know it's been mentioned, like I say, 10 wins, the most in this era from 1981, where this current playoff format is. But you guys say that is past Christian, 1975 did get 10 wins. But I mean, that's a slight milestone. It's great to get to 10 wins, but I know that's nowhere near. You're not done yet to get more wins than that. But some of the notes I wrote down. Mo James, if I'm saying his name right there, to the announcers, had that fumble recovery that was big. And Burks, again, according to the announcers, and I met Coach Shoulders there at my grandson's middle school game as he coaches middle school basketball. They had mentioned about Burks being injured, and he caught, I believe, a touchdown. So, I mean, that's a tremendous to have Burks back. He plays on both sides of the ball. How is he feeling after tonight's game?
Yeah, he had an injury at the end of last year, and we got him back, and it's just he's a young player, so it's a matter of just working him in, and we tried to play as few kids possible both ways down the stretch, but going into a playoff game, it's all hands on deck, and we told the guys that all week. You may play out of position. You may play 3 positions. It's going to be whatever it takes to win. We just need one more point than the other team. And we had several guys step up and play in roles that they normally don't play to help the team win.
And I piggyback as far as off of Burks. I know his younger brother, and that's what I wrote down because the announcers, were saying again, Connor Burks, and I put future below it because they said he's really talented from what they described of him. Can you expand on that on Connor Burks?
Yeah, Mario's a sophomore, Connor's a freshman, so we'll have those 2 guys for a couple more years. And we've had Connor in the weight room at our middle school weightlifting program the past couple of years, so that's helped him tremendously. And once he played, we played 5 JV games, and he played pretty solid in all those. And he spot played some tonight in varsity. Once he picks up on the speed of the game and matures into a starting role, I'm confident he'll be a good player for us for a couple of years.
Yeah, that's what I hear other players that are moving up from the JV is the one word is speed. And actually I hear from JUCO football players that move up, to the next level is the speed of the game is there. Dwight, if I say that, Thomas had that interception. I believe it was almost to the pick 6. He got down at the 1 yard line, if not mistaken. But I have written down, I don't know how many official turnovers, but they were saying 4 turnovers at your defense. I know it was just posted. You had the most prolific offense scoring so many points. And then your defense is really, giving up 32 points, is a little bit more than they're used to, but still 4 turnovers. That's pretty good, especially if we're going in to score. Yes, they fumbled the ball, but you guys were able to jump on it. How that momentum turned there.
Yeah, it was a wild game. I'm not gonna lie. It was probably the longest high school game I've ever been a part of. And you'd have to see it. You'd have to see it in person to understand that when I'm telling you these guys were athletic and they played hard and they did not go away. They scored that. They scored that last touchdown. They were, I don't know, down 4 touchdowns and they scored with 30 seconds left. They just wouldn't go away. They played hard and they put a lot of speed on the field. I think their biggest player was 370. Right tackle, and their biggest receiver was 6'6", 220, committed to Missouri. So we haven't seen that all year. So it was really good for our defense to play as well as they did. We gave up a few long plays on 4th down, We gave up a couple third down plays, but again, like I said, if we can play, we haven't done that the second half of the season in about 8 weeks. So we were probably due for a little bit of a slop game. And if you can play your slop game and still pick up a win, then it was a good week. And the best thing our team's done all year was finish a game, put it behind them, and move on to the next game. So hopefully they'll do that, put this one away, and refocus, and maybe we'll play a little better next week.
Yeah, I know that I had written down 22-6 halftime until I was watching it, and they threw that pass, 28-yard touchdown pass, Hail Mary to the end zone, and then it made it 22-12 at halftime. I'm sure obviously you weren't too happy with that and that long pass like that, but yet you start the second half, and I believe I marked down, I think I marked Larkin Lewis, 90-yard touchdown to start the second half, so that kind of made it up. But I'm sure you were kind of obviously upset giving up that Hail Mary pass, to end the first half. What did you say to the team at halftime? Right. It was now 22-12, and they have momentum.
Right. It was a 4th and goal with about 6 seconds left, and probably about the 30, 35-yard line. And, of course, we know they're going to chuck it in the end zone, and they did, and they threw it to that big kid, that 6'6" guy, and we had 3 guys on him, and he still came down with the ball. So, it wasn't, I think DNA had us beat off the bat on that play right there. He was a special player. But we challenged our guys at halftime. You're going to have to come out, and they did. They took the momentum. And you're going to have to come out at halftime and make a statement. We wanted to put a good long drive together and let our defense rest a little longer. And we, Larkin picked it up and run it all the way back. It's probably the single best play of the season as far as the impact of the game. That swung the game because their next 2 possessions was when the 2 turnovers happened, and we scored off of both of those. So we took a 1-touchdown lead into a 4-touchdown lead in a hurry. And that one single play swung the momentum back our way. We were able to capitalize on some mistakes. So overall, I'm really happy for the team. This was a big win for them.
Yes, most definitely. What after the game, as far as when like you are there in your office, do you look at stats? Is there one particular stat that you go to and say, what do we do on this stat, turnovers or third down conversions? I mean, I don't know if you do that or not. Sometimes I'll do that at certain games. Do you do that? Look at go to one particular thing and say, hey, what do we do? What stat is
not
that
really
different from each game?
No, not really. There's one stat, and that's points. If there's mistakes made, we'll look back and correct that. But we run an air raid style offense and try to get as many plays per game as we can. And there's going to be mistakes. So we teach our players, you make a mistake, let it go, run the next play. You throw an interception, we're going to throw it again on the next play. So just put whatever's behind you and keep playing hard. And we try to get about 80 snaps a game. And, you're going to make mistakes, let it go and run the next play. That's kind of what we do.
Do you know how many plays you ran tonight?
Oh man, it was a bunch.
Okay. I don't know. I just was curious.
There were so many. I mean, the third quarter. I mean, it felt like it was past 10 o'clock. And
longest third quarter.
Yes, there's 3 minutes left in the third. And it's after 10 o'clock. So it's like
longest third quarter I've ever been a part of.
I was watching the game. Yes, I didn't know. And again, I don't want to bring up referees, but I guess I'm bringing up referees because there was. I don't know if you were seeing the same thing that announcers were seeing, that there was like false starts that just was clear and they, just happened to miss it. I mean, it was unfortunate.
Tough. They were going off a clapping cadence, and the receivers would flinch on the clap, and the ball wasn't snapped on the clap. And we complained, but it is what it is. But I thought overall the game was called fair. And again, survive in advance. Happy to put this one behind us and injury free, and hopefully we can regroup and start again on Sunday and play good next week. Hopefully.
Hunter, do you have any questions for? I know you're with Coach Stockstill most of the time.
Yes, sir. Well, that being said, Coach, I definitely agree with you on the third quarter. That was easily the longest third quarter I think I've ever been a part of. I mean, obviously not just because of penalty calls, but of course everybody throwing the ball all the time,
It doesn't help, it does it?
Exactly. But one of the things that I noticed that I wanted to talk to you about, and we'll talk some more on Sunday about it too, but is the special teams. Y'all had some great. It was because that's a third part of a game where you have to be able to pay attention to it. Y'all had some great plays on special teams, but you also had a little bit of mishaps here and there. Just
Sure.
talk to me about that.
We try to fake punt, and we missed the wrong gap. I thought it was blocked up well. I think we missed the wrong gap. I think that's something we can look back and fix. That would have been a big momentum play right there we missed out on. As far as punting, we punted, I think, 3 more times, and Caden did a good job of sidestep, kind of rugby style, kicking it and getting a really good roll. I think we covered our kickoff return. Obviously, was a big play for us, and we got a couple decent. They onside kicked it a couple times too, so we was able to jump on that. As far as the kickoffs are concerned, Hunter, they had so much speed back there. We told him kick it out of bounds. If you can't, if you can't sky kick it and get our guys underneath there, kicking it out of bounds because they played.
And the one time you kicked it to him, he went all the way up the field, almost to midfield. I thought that did they call a holding call that pulled it back about 10 yards or something like that? It was weird.
And I think we got every film from their entire season, and because we all know how talented and how well coached Columbia High School is. And everybody has sky kicked or pooch kicked, short kicked to those guys all year. Well, Columbia kicked it too far into the middle of the field, and I think it was number 12, and he outran their whole team. And so we told these guys, if he outruns Columbia, then there's nothing in Harrison County's gonna catch this kid. So you kick it out of bounds, and that's way better than letting them guys run it back or giving up a play or something like that. So I think special teams across the board, we were okay. But on the kickoffs, we were telling Caden, kick that sucker out of bounds, man. Do not kick it across the middle of the field where those guys can return it.
And then the last question, we'll talk a little more on Sunday too, the HD experience. But they're really, me noticing this, the first quarter, Harris just didn't seem very comfortable. He was making plays, y'all were making plays, but he just didn't seem very comfortable. But it seemed like in the second quarter and then from there on, it just kind of clicked. Was there something that you said to him? Was there something that somebody sat down and talked with him about? I forgot to ask Coach Stansbury that too, but I was just kind of wondering what made that happen.
Well, I think we were all scared of those 2 6'5" defensive ends they had. So I think he may have rushed a couple throws early in the game, and those guys were tough. I mean, that was a concern going in, where we're going to be able to block those 2 guys for 4 quarters, and I think we did a good job. And once he settled in and got his feet settled in the pocket, he was able to make some really good throws, and also with his feet too. Now, if he didn't like what he saw, he was able to take off and scramble and pick up first downs and make plays for us. So I think just it's playoff football, man. You got little butterflies going in, things like that. And, we had talked again, you were there, you saw the athleticism that team put on the field. And we haven't seen that all year. So
Coach, literally they scored a few times within 10, 15 seconds. I mean, it was that quick. So, but congratulations, and we'll be talking later. And thank you for answering the questions. Appreciate it, Coach.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you, Hunter.
All right, Coach. And like I say, next week you're at home, so you'll stay right there. Morton will come in. Again, you guys have never played against them. Is there a limit? I mean, you can watch all their games all season, correct? There's not a limit on how many games you can watch of them.
No, it's right. It's all online. And if you can find enough coaches that you're friends with that can swap films with you and stuff like that, and everybody pulls favors. There's a team that we also on our schedule that somebody else may need that have played Morton, so we'll say, hey, we'll give you this one for that one, and things like that. Okay. So it's camaraderie.
Yeah. Well, it's your 10-win season. Great there, and you're not nowhere near done yet. your ninth straight home win. It goes back to last year. You're 6-0 this year, so home field is certainly a great place there in Pass Christian. And appreciate you joining us here and enjoy this great win. And I know, I guess Sunday you'll be getting back in it. You're in it, survive and win, as like to say. So great a win tonight, and congratulations to you and your Pass Christian and your fans, the great fans of Pass Christian.
Yeah. All right, sounds good. Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you, Coach. All right, Hunter. Yeah, that was it was like I said, you had turnovers, you had a 2-point conversion, you had a punt return. I mean, I don't have to tell you, you were there, but the fans watching it, a lot happened in that game.
I'm telling you, Matt, the third quarter, it was back and forth the whole way. I mean, granted, you're thankful as a Pass Christian fan that you ended up, but of course, it could have swung the other direction. I mean, it was that back and forth the whole game, at least until the fourth quarter. Once about the start of the fourth quarter, once Larkin made the return, the kickoff return, that really kind of changed the momentum. And I think that's really when they went up ahead, at least by 3 scores. And that kind of turned the tide.
Yes. Actually, I was watching. I was glad they live streamed because, like I said, I know it costs a little bit more to live stream. So certainly appreciate. I don't know the gentleman's there. I know, again, Coach Shoulders, because, again, I met him just this past week, and I met him last year. So, again, the basketball coach at middle school. And his son did great. His son scored. So,
yeah, Ryland did too as well. Yeah, Coach Shoulders and Coach Buckley. Johnny Buckley was a really good man as assistant baseball coach. They did a great job, and I know that Pass Christian is really happy to have those two guys.
Yeah, so I believe so. I guess we're gonna to end it here, as of course we both have long days tomorrow. But hey, we want to, I've been on for about an hour 40 minutes. And again, I'll be leaving at 9 a.m. to head up to Scuba for Gulf Coast semifinal game at East Mississippi. They played in week 1. Gulf Coast did win, but totally different team. East Mississippi is, I believe they're led now by Trey Irving, who's played a little bit more here lately. And, of course, Mr. 5A from Gaucher last year. And congratulations to the 2 Coast players for 6A is Mitchell Smith, if I'm not mistaken, from Picayune, offensive tackle, and then Ty Keys, Mr. 4A, there for Poplarville, and they did win tonight. So, again, I'll post, I've already posted the matchups that I have on the Facebook page for next week, and then we'll update the 4A matchups that are in now round 2. And it all will finish there on that Thursday, Friday, Saturday, the first week of December at Mississippi State, where you are headed. At least you'll end up there by tomorrow. So enjoy the game there tomorrow. And of course, the HD experience, I shared it, across social media. Fans need to tune in and listen to it. Got a wide variety of guests on there, besides myself at high school football. But, you just don't ever know who's going to be on there each week for Hunter. It's going to be sports related. But it should cover the bases for all sports fans. So certainly appreciate you joining it.
Yeah, high school, college, and pro. All that, we got everybody on there. It's all coast related because we're all big fans down here on the coast.
Yes. And I know the season, unfortunately, is getting down to it. But this is an exciting time of the year with the more playoff games. All the playoff games will be next week. So look for that coming out as I'll post that. But certainly appreciate you joining, Hunter, and be safe driving. Appreciate Coach Feaster for coming on and Coach Stockstill for coming on for the show, and the fans that have tuned in on X, on YouTube, and on Facebook. Please post your comments, as I'll, even if you're watching on the replay, I certainly will get notice on who posted what question, and I'll certainly reply back. So, all right, Hunter, any last words you want to say, as it is 11:46 here on this Friday night?
No, it's great because, it's It's getting to be a rivalry week in college football. It's getting to be playoffs or advancing further. Getting some good. We've got some good groups, and I think we're going to have an interesting matchup next week in 7A. And I think it's going to. I think there's more coast teams that are going to pull it out than have been predicted. So.
Yes, we certainly need it. We would like to have a 7A team there. Nothing against the other classes. We certainly like to have Stone make it in 5A. You know, of course, they'll have to go through a couple decent teams there, and then Pass Christian or Poplarville. I know Poplarville won it last year, but you know, Pass Christian is still there. They're playing some good ball, and again, I'll list all the team names on a post that are in the playoffs, and hopefully not one, but more than one coast team can get up there. It has happened before over the last few years. So, in fact, last year, so with Gaucher and Poplarville. So, enjoy the games, get out and watch them, and then join us back here on the post game show. So, for Hunter Dawkins, I am Matt Stats with Coast Football, and we will see you under the lights next week on Friday night. We are out.